Oh, Terry, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Um, I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. We finally got you here
Yes, thank you for asking me. I'm looking forward to it.
because you're like super busy.
Yes.
You're like, I don't know, because you've got a young child as well.
Yep.
So has it been difficult to?
Um.
Because obviously that must have changed things when you.
Yeah, it did, and part of me thought that that was going to be it for the music industry when
Oh, right.
Lila came along. Yeah. I sat and I pondered, what can I do, and I need to get a serious job with a pension, and I need to grow up, and I'm not going to be able to go to gigs anymore. Um,
God,
but
that makes having a child sound like a sentence.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I thought it would be. People say, "Oh, when you have a child, that's it," but it's really not. If anything, I think myself and my partner have been even more ambitious to follow our dreams. So
Fair play to you.
having Lila kickstarted me into having my own business and wanting to do better and be better.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's start that then. So you currently are you the owner, the manager of RPM Management,
yep, that's it. The owner,
which is Rock People Management.
Rock People Management. Yes.
So when did you officially start that then?
In April last year, just
Right.
as I was coming off maternity leave. And it's something I'd thought about for a long time. I was already managing massive wagons.
Yeah.
And I thought, can I grow this? Do I have the balls to grow this? And it was actually Bruce Dickinson from Little Angels who I'd been doing some work with through his band Colour of Noise.
Yeah.
And it was him that persuaded me to do it.
Ah, okay.
He said, Terry, you've got a skill set here, go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did with the full support of Barry. He,
Your partner is Barry Mills, the singer of Massive Wagons.
yeah, that's it. And he's always pushed me to do what I want. So
Because that's what you do, isn't it?
yeah.
So what was it? How long? So what were you doing before that? Technically, what was your job before that?
Before that, I was working in Ibiza for a company called Hard Rock Hell.
Yeah.
And I lived there for 10 years, and I worked for them for I think about 8 years.
Right.
And it was such a small team of us. We had the festivals and we had the label and all the other bits in between. And yeah, it was
So what was your specific job?
a bit of everything,
I was gonna say.
really. Yeah, a bit of everything.
Proper team effort, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I ran the label Off Yer Rocka Recordings with Fleur and Johnny.
So is that still going?
That is still going, yeah. That's
Good.
still going. And I also did the logistics. I did artist liaison.
Right.
I did sales. So yeah, a bit of everything really, which gave me the skill set and the contacts to do what I'm doing now. So it's invaluable.
So was that your first job in the music industry then? Or what was
your?
your path to get to there then?
Well, I moved to Ibiza when I was very young, when I was 19. I worked in some of the bars and the clubs.
Right.
And I heard about this company and I went and started working for them doing sales.
Right.
For the science fiction convention that they have.
Right. So completely
so
different.
they have a science fiction convention as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I started doing sales, realised they had this rock department of the company, and eventually got offered a full-time job with them. So yeah, I was going to leave Ibiza at one point, but then this opportunity came up. And
Okay.
yeah, so glad that I took it. Yeah,
Because you wouldn't be here now.
exactly. Yeah.
So what was when you went before that, was that just like a typical young person just wanted to go Ibiza and just...
Yeah, I was like 19 years old. Ibiza sounded great.
Yeah.
I just the first year that I was there, it was very, very hedonistic.
Yeah.
Let's say.
So what is Chic Festivals?
Chic Festivals is the overall company name for Hard Rock Hell. I
Right.
guess,
So that's the
yeah.
company who owns all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Ah, right. Cool. So who runs that?
That's run by John Davis,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and the director of the company is Fleur.
Fleur Elliott.
Fleur,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
which
yeah.
you would have heard.
She's
Fleur's
one of
name,
your
yeah.
best buddies.
Yeah, I haven't seen
So
her for
are
a
they still
long
out there
time.
then?
Yep, still out there. I think they've lived there. I think Fleur's lived there about 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that Hard Rock Hell thing's doing really well, isn't it?
They've got. I spoke to John the other day. They've got about 16 events now.
Wow.
Yeah.
All under the same umbrella.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Their team sizes must have grown as well, I suppose.
Since I've been there,
Yeah.
I believe it has.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, a management company called Torpedo,
Right.
which when this podcast is released, that will be announced because we're announcing that on Monday. So there you
Well, this
go.
podcast will go out next Monday,
Oh, that's all right.
a week tomorrow.
I'm safe in saying that.
Yeah,
then.
you are.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So in RPM management, is it just you?
There's me and a woman called Heidi who I've started working with. I've
Right.
brought her on board, and yeah, it's great. I mean, she's a huge lover of rock. She's she's out there. She goes
Yeah.
to a lot of gigs.
She's
and
involved.
She knows,
She's in the
yeah,
scene.
she's involved.
Yeah,
That's it.
cool.
Yeah.
So when you, what's your plans going forward then? Have you got a definite plan of what's going to happen, or are you just seeing how it goes?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, I've got 9 bands between myself and Heidi.
Right.
So 9 acts on the roster.
That's a fair amount of work just off the
yeah.
bat.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of them doesn't have a singer at the moment, so
Right.
and there's different campaigns and different strategies,
Mm.
so it's not full on all the time for all of the bands.
That's true. Right.
But yeah, 9 is definitely a nice amount for now.
It'll do.
It'll do, yeah. And yeah, I did Massive Wagon's library gig in Lancaster.
Oh yeah.
So I organised that from scratch.
Where did that idea come from, or how did that come about?
It was Barry's idea, actually. Yeah.
He wants to play at a library.
We were Googling.
That sounds very Barry. That.
We couldn't find a suitable location in their hometown. Nowhere was big enough, really. So we found Barry found a YouTube video. Adele played at Lancaster Library.
Wow.
Yeah, like years ago. So we were like, let's have a look into this. So yeah, we put a gig on in the library. We literally moved all of the books out of the library. It was,
Oh my God.
yeah. At the time, I was like, I'm never doing this again. But it was really, really good. Yeah. And we even hired bars to come in, and Cloven Hoof Rum came in, and
Oh yeah. That sounded like it was, because it was really well attended as well, wasn't it?
yeah, we sold out
Yeah.
in a couple of days. I think it was. Yeah, 300 people.
Wow. Was it just Massive Wagons, or was there somebody else was there?
Massive Wagons, and we had Empire, which are
Yeah.
another RPM band,
Yeah.
and also a really cool band called Blackballed.
I've heard of them, but I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with them.
3-piece, really good beards. Yeah.
You like your beards, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, they're a really, really cool band. So yeah, check
cool.
out Blackballed.
So who are the other main bands on your roster at the minute?
Well, I've got a band called the Rocket Dolls.
Right.
They're releasing an album really soon, and we've just got on Planet Rock and Classic Rock, so
Cool.
everything seems to be going well with them.
13 Stars.
13 Stars, who are on tour at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the King Lot.
Yeah.
And 13 Stars have an album more or less ready. We just need to.
Cool. Is it recorded?
I think most of it's recorded. Yeah.
I'll have to get them on then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
We had Hoss on
definitely.
here before, last year.
Barry said today, yeah, like that was a really long one, wasn't it? Like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, something like that. That was the legendary one where he was talking about looking after your voice and not smoking, not drinking. Then he proceeded to choke. He was like, he was like, you couldn't have timed it any better.
Brilliant.
But no, they're a really good band. They're a really
yeah,
good band.
yeah, Hoss
They've
is-
got that southern rock nailed.
I love it. I love it. Like I was down the front watching them on Thursday night. They're just incredible. Like the performance is
They just
great.
get better and better, don't they?
I just look at Hoss when he's performing. I think he's from a different time.
He was meant to do that, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he
You
was
look at it,
meant to
that's
do
what
it.
he's meant to do.
Yeah,
I say that about Baz as well, though, to be fair.
yeah, definitely.
'Cause when you
Baz
talk
is
to
a
him in
character.
person, it's just like a normal guy, but when he goes on stage, it's like a different person. But that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I think that's what people pay their money to see, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not just
yeah,
some guys going
showman.
up playing some songs.
Yeah,
It's total different. It's a different level, I
Yeah.
think.
Barry is definitely a showman. Yeah,
Or a show off.
both.
But so what was your first proper job?
My first proper job, I used to work in a hotel, the Marriott Hotel, and I went for my first job interview when I was 15 years old.
Right.
And we got to the end of the interview, and he was like, "Wait a minute, how old are you?" And I was like, 15. He's like, "Yeah, you're too young to work here." He's like, you've got to be 16. Come back when you're 16.
Oh my God.
And about 3 days after I turned 16, I rang them. I was like, "Can you give me a job now?" I was so desperate to work when I was younger.
There you go.
Yeah, so desperate. And I've always had more than one job. You know,
Yeah.
worked in bars selling shots, and I've worked in clothes shops, hotels. I've done all sorts. I had my own little jewellery business when I was younger. I started that when I was 16.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, entrepreneur, aren't you?
Yeah. I did always want my own business eventually, and I never had any clue that it would be in the music industry. It's just...
So that's come from the Ibiza sort of situation that's led you to that?
Yeah.
That's the way you learnt most of your stuff about it then, I guess?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So just some things should happen.
Yeah. And
What did you want? Did you have a specific... Do you want to have your own business, but did you know what kind did you want to do?
I always imagined it would be something to do with retail, clothing, or T-shirt design, or jewellery or something like that. Yeah, I didn't think it would be this. Yeah. But it's great. I mean, I get to do so much, and it's never boring.
No. It can't be.
And do you know what?
You haven't got time to be bored, have you?
Yeah, exactly. And I work with some of the nicest people, and it's so good that I get to choose who I work with.
Yeah.
Really, really is, yeah.
It's one of the perks of the job, I guess, because you get people getting in touch with you all the time, asking for if they want to work. So what's your sort of process of like choosing your people that you work with?
I guess I've got to be a fan, or if I've never heard of them, I've got to love what they do.
Yeah,
and
just get them straight away.
Yeah, I have to like them and see potential, and I have to see hunger in their eyes as well, because I'm going to be hungry for them, so they need to
be hungry for themselves. Yeah, because you're not going to do everything for them.
Yeah.
So do you look at their social media stuff and see how they operate online and stuff, and see what sort of a following they've got? Yeah,
see what kind of buzz they've got, and just make sure that everything they do is of a high standard, and
So what exactly does RPM management do, apart from obviously manage bands? Is there other things that you do? Or will there be?
Going back to the library thing, that was an event that I did with Wagons. I've also got another event in Morecambe.
Okay.
At a venue called The Platform, which doesn't actually put rock events on. It's more like Frank Sinatra, and they do like vintage fairs and things. But the venue's amazing. The stage is huge.
Yeah, they're quite often are they, aren't they?
And they're letting me hire the venue for a gig. It's 400 cap.
Nice.
So I'm doing that, and it would be quite nice to put some
When's that
small
happening?
events. It's the 4th of August.
Have you launched a lineup yet?
Yes.
Who's playing?
Well, we've got Massive Wagons, Mason Hill, Tequila Mockingbird, and the last band is to be confirmed.
Okay. Well, that's a good lineup.
Yeah.
That's great. So would you think of doing something like trying to get one, like an annual thing going there or something?
Yeah, maybe. I mean...
If it works.
Yeah, if it works.
Try it first, I suppose.
I would like to do sort of small events in different locations around the UK that aren't necessarily rock related. So like the library, and The Platform is actually an old train platform.
I was going to say, it sounds like that.
Yeah. So it would be quite
so
cool.
is the stage basically what was the platform?
Yeah, I mean, like the building and the surroundings, and it's got like the big clock outside the front, and
Cool.
it looks really cool. But it's a council-ran venue, and it is so plush inside.
Yeah.
Like the backstage area is lovely, and it's got one of the mirrors with the big lights around it. So it's really cool. It's really really nicely looked after. So
is the logistics difficult for something like that, or have you got hoops to jump through?
well, for the library, we brought in the light and the sound engineer, but the library had provided us with a stage, and we brought in the bars and did everything ourselves. But for that, it's a little bit easier. Everything's there, and you just pay quite a hefty fee for it all. But it is going to be easier this time.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But so do you get to go to as many gigs these days?
Not really. I mean, we have to be sort of careful. Barry's away quite a lot.
Yeah.
We don't have a big family.
Right.
So we don't have very many babysitting tokens.
Right.
So, but they are all used for work.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, Barry was in the studio, and I had to go to Kendal. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to go to Kendal to see, the start of the tour.
Yeah.
Which me and Lauren, the manager of
Lauren Hutchinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me and Lauren booked the majority of that ourselves, and then we got somebody else in to help us.
Right.
Jeez, that is so much work, booking a 15-date tour.
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, wow.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's something that well, I'd booked dates before, but I'd never done something like that.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest thing I've done. Our last tour for the Destruction Complete EP was like 9 dates, I think, and just trying to get like, if there's a couple of dates available, like, do I take that one or do I take that one?
I know.
What happens if that one says they can't do that one? Then how? It's like trying to get it all to line up. It's like you've asked at one venue too late, you've asked one venue too early. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Yeah, and then like, oh, you're penciled in. You have a first pencil, you have a second pencil, or the third pencil. It's like,
it's a minefield.
it really is. Yeah.
But it takes a skill to be able to do that, which is why it's a job that that should be just someone's job, not part of their job, just like a booking agent.
Yeah. Do you know what though? For the level of band that I work with, it's so hard. I'm sure you know, for any booking agents, it's so hard for them to get a booking agent.
Yeah.
Nobody's interested.
No.
But I think now there's quite a big movement in the rock scene, and like lots of exciting things seem to be happening.
Yeah.
And I've found somebody that I'm really pleased to be working with. There's a band called Massive, an Australian band called Massive.
Yeah.
And this singer called Brad, he started up his own company called Wrecking Crew.
Right.
And he is a booking agent for bands of this level.
Right.
Of course, there's not a lot of money in it for him, but I'm sure he's planning on growing his business.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a calling for it.
UK is it's got a lot of potential as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So that sounds
Yeah,
promising.
so Brad's been helping me book a lot of dates lately, and he booked all of the Wagons tour for me. So thank you, Brad.
Cool. So where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I was born in Barnsley in Yorkshire.
Barnsley.
Don't have the accent, thank goodness. My dad was in the army, so we moved around a lot.
Okay, right.
So every 3 years I moved somewhere else. I lived in Germany, Kent, Oxford, Catterick, Bristol, Newcastle. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What was your musical influences when you were growing up?
I guess a lot of it was from my dad, and you're talking Def Leppard. I think that's the band that sticks in my head the most,
Right.
and that's my favourite band.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah, I love Def Leppard. But then, you know, I did go down the whole girly teenage route and had a couple of like 5 albums and Take That, you know.
Or Spice Girls?
Oh yeah, Spice Girls too.
Of course, gotta be done.
But Michael Jackson was I was a big Michael Jackson fan.
I love Michael Jackson as well.
I have Michael Jackson doll. I have a Michael Jackson glove, Michael Jackson artwork, and a ton of Michael Jackson vinyl as well. Yeah.
I love Michael
Huge
Jackson.
fan.
I think
Yeah,
he's one of
great.
them artists that like just transcends all genres. Like
Yeah.
I mainly like metal, but Michael Jackson's probably my top 5 all-time favorite artists. I
Yeah.
just listen to him anytime, and it's just music's just timeless.
Oh yeah.
I remember that. Have you seen that video when he first ever did the moonwalk?
Oh no.
You find it on YouTube. It's like the 25th anniversary of Motown or something like that.
Right.
It's when he's first just breaking out as a solo artist, and he's doing Billie Jean. And when he first turns and does the moonwalk, the whole audience just loses their shit. They're just like jumping up and down.
Really?
Like, oh my god, because they'd never seen that before.
He was just something else, wasn't he? So
Electric.
different. And do you know what? There's nobody out there like him.
Certainly
There
not
really
since
isn't. No.
nothing. We've talked about this before, like genres as well. Like it's like grunge in the early 90s, and then thrash before that, and punk and all that stuff. Then mid 90s you had Brit rock, and then early 2000s you had new metal. But since then, there hasn't really been a big new genre. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering is there ever going to be another one?
I don't know.
Has everything
yeah.
been done?
Maybe. Who knows? No, I think something new will come along. It might not necessarily be something.
Because you're getting on 20 years now since the last sort of big. Because like new metal was like global, with
Yeah.
like Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach and all that sort of stuff. But there's been nothing major since, has there, that you can think of?
No, I guess not. Watch your space, though. You never know.
Exactly. Be interesting.
Yeah. Blink 182 as well. When I was young, I was a huge Blink
Yeah.
182 fan, and I got to see them for the first time last year. Barry bought me tickets, and it was a surprise. I didn't know.
Brilliant.
I thought he was coming with me, but he just bought me a ticket to
Off
go
you
with.
go.
To
Like,
go with.
I love you, but I don't love you enough to watch that.
Yeah. So I went with 2 of our mutual friends, and amazing.
They're a good band.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those bands like from that age, like Sum 41.
Yeah, I used to like them too.
It's sad what happened to the singer.
He sort of like
I think
hit
he's all right
rock
now,
bottom, but
like
yeah.
drugs and alcohol and that. And, like I saw a picture of him, like he had like a dressing gown on, and he had like a walking frame, and someone was helping out of a car. Oh my god! And he was only like
Scary.
40,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But now he's back. Now he's like had rehab and all that stuff. I saw him on a podcast. He looked great, but that was horrible.
I know.
Scary.
I think there should be more help out there for
I think so.
mental health and drugs and things in this
Especially if
industry.
someone gets famous quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot to take in. Like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
He was not. He never. So he really didn't want to be famous, but he was that talented. He couldn't not be.
Yeah.
But their success was like overnight. As soon as Nevermind came out, that was it.
And I mean, from the documentaries and things that I've watched, his personality, he was a very sort of
He was
soft
introvert, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Such an interesting character.
Yeah. It was weird. Like he wanted to play music, but he didn't like people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird.
And he hated everything that was wrong with the world. Like he could see all of the negatives in it. And
I think
I
he
guess-
focused on it too much, to be
Yeah.
honest, rather than just do what you do.
yeah.
Let
Yeah,
everything else
that's
take
it.
care of itself.
But some people are just so talented, aren't they? That
Yeah.
I think that's how they're built.
Whereas
Yeah.
some bands, like some of the like heavy metal, like say Metallica, where like your album comes out, the first album, and then every album gets a bit more, and you get more successful gradually. So that when you have a big album, you're kind of already used to it. Whereas Nirvana is just like, I don't think. How can you prepare someone for that?
Yeah, I know. The overnight success. So Wagons will be all right then. They've been grafting their butts off for a while now.
Definitely. Oh, it's coming. Don't worry.
So fingers crossed.
Well, I suggest anyone listening who's not aware of the band, the Massive Wagons, you go and check them out right now. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Yep, actually all of the RPM roster.
Yeah, we'll put a link. We'll put a link in the show notes. So, who else? Have there any bands we've not mentioned on your roster?
There's a great band that I'm working with called Henry's Funeral Shoe. Great name.
Did you hear that?
Just
Henry's Funeral Shoe.
yeah.
I like the name
That's a-
already.
Have you heard of them? I guess
I've heard of the name. I have heard of the name online. I've
Yeah.
seen it online, but I've not listened to the music.
they're really cool. They're a two-piece. They're brothers from
Right.
Wales, and they look a bit like the Gallagher brothers, but they do the most incredible blues rock. And yeah,
Cool.
they've had a couple of albums out and an EP, and they've had some like really interesting sync deals. Their music's been played on a Fiat car advert with Charlie Sheen,
Wow.
which is pretty cool. And last year I think they were the opening titles for Love Island.
Right.
And I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. One of their tracks was played on
Their
that.
music must hit a certain
Yeah.
demographic then. These people looking out for it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Um,
Because those people who do the sync deals, they listen to a lot of music for them to pick out certain
Yeah.
ones. It's like, what is it that makes them stand out, I guess?
That's it. I think they're a very syncable band. So hopefully, we can get them out there in the live scene as well, where they haven't made much of a mark yet, but they're on tour with Massive Wagons. So
Yeah, I've heard people say that like doing things like sync is like selling out. But like in this day and age,
you know
You
what?
need any
Bands
exposure.
they're a business at
Yeah.
the end of the day. Why would you not want to progress and want to get your music out there to as many people
exactly,
as possible?
because that advert could expose you to thousands of new people who might then jump on your band, and then your next tour might be really busy. And it's like,
Exactly, that's it.
there's too many armchair critics these days, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
usually the
yeah.
bitter, jealous people who couldn't be asked to get off their ass and do it themselves that shit on everyone else. I find
Yeah.
most times.
Do you know what though? I found that part of the industry, it can be so difficult to tap into for bands, especially if all you want to do is play music,
Yeah.
But the publishing, the PRS, MCPS, it's like
You'd be
what-
surprised the amount of people I've spoke to, like younger musicians, who don't even know about the PRS side of it, or
Yeah.
like registering with Centric Music.
yeah.
Like you explain to them, they go, "What? You can get money for your gigs?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I mean, it's like it is difficult as well. I've looked into it for Massive Wagons. Well, when I first looked into it for them, I was like, oh my god, like filling it all in,
know.
and I did it all for Barry.
Yeah,
I can understand why people don't do it.
I know, but you should really.
Oh, yeah.
You owe it to yourself.
Oh yeah, exactly.
If you value what you're doing that much and you're that driven, it's a no-brainer. It's part of it.
Yeah.
It's just a fact of this the industry that we're in now. You've got to have a business sense as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
You can't just you have got to, at the end of the day, look, do it for the love of it, because chances of you making money are slim. So if you're not doing it for the, I think that's probably changing these days. Younger people realising it's not all about limousines and planes and hotels and that anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think that used to be the incorrect stereotype from back in the day. Because even the big artists don't behave like that anymore, do they?
Nope.
Everything's like on a budget and like save every penny, and
Yeah, that's where
you never hear of like drugs or smashing hotel rooms anymore, do you?
Because there's no money. No.
Nah.
Now even the bigger artists, obviously, there's the whole pay to play. Like, if a band wants to go on tour with them, then they have to pay for the tour bus or a percentage, you know.
Yeah, like all the smashing the hotels. That used to be, the bill used to get footed by the record label, but that doesn't happen anymore, so that's why it stopped.
So different. And, you know, so many people are releasing themselves now, or through pledge campaigns and things.
Yeah, our pledge campaigns are fantastic.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
Not only, obviously, can the band get like a project funded easier, but it's like great for the fans, because the band have to think of cool stuff for the fans to be able to get.
Yeah.
Like stuff that the band wouldn't have even thought of beforehand, but they've now got to sit down and go, right, what can we give our fans that's really cool that they would want? And it's like, you have to sort of be creative, don't you?
Yep,
Which is why if you have got someone like you behind them, you can help with that, can't you? Come up with ideas and stuff. And
yep,
have you been with many pledge campaigns?
Massive Wagons did a pledge campaign a while ago, and that was hugely successful. Riders Creed are doing a pledge campaign right now, and we're just sort of planning a pledge party,
right,
to add that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is brilliant, and also it's another way for the musicians to connect with their fans,
Exactly.
to get closer to their fans, to know who they
everyone
are and
wins.
what they want. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, some bands include the people who pledged as part of the album, like they get them in the liner notes or the credits and stuff like that. I love stuff like that. 'Cause if you really love the band, that's like the best thing ever.
Exactly, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I still buzz when my name or now the RPM logo gets put on a CD or a vinyl. It's like, it's just such a good feeling.
Yeah. So do you think you'll expand more and like take on more bands and have more people working for you then? Can you see that happening?
I would love that to happen, but I think at the moment I'm going to grow what I've got now.
Push it as far as you can with what you've got now.
Yeah, and work with the bands that I've got on my roster. I would like to, because there's so many bands that come to me, and it's like I would like to give them some of my time, but
you're already at full capacity.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm trying to work out a way of maybe doing some kind of consultancy where it's like distance
like
managing or something like that. But I haven't
like
figured it out.
you give someone consultancy for like a short time to help them do something, and then
because
that would work.
You know, I hate it when I can see a band doing something not wrong, but you know,
they could be doing it a lot better.
They could be doing it better, or they're doing it in the wrong order, or they're just they're just chucking tracks out there with nothing to back them up, and it's like, this track is amazing, you know, you could have had press, you could have had this, you could have had radio play had you done it right, but they just release it, and it, you know, a couple of onlines might pick it up, and it'll just filter away, and it's like, what a waste.
Yeah, I've talking to Dave Ritchie from Wildfire Festival when I was on here, and he's talking about, you know, the bands that get in touch wanting to play, and he'll go to some of their social media, they haven't updated for ages, they're just not bothering, you know what I mean? It's like, well, why do you deserve to play over these bands who are like at it 24/7? Yeah,
you've got to be hungry for it.
Because think about it, even just because you're in bed, the other half of the world's still awake. So
exactly.
I used to do scheduled posts that would go out in the middle of the night just so other people could see.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Because sometimes, well, especially Facebook now, it keeps changing all the algorithms and stuff. Like basically, you have to pay for posts now, otherwise no one sees it. Do you do some of that?
Oh yeah.
That's like part of your budget now, isn't it?
Just got my bill the other day. Yeah, it's not nice because you forget how much you're spending. Oh, I'll just put a $10 boost on it, and then you've done like 12 $10 boosts, and you're like, oh.
Well, that's just that's what you have to do now, isn't it? It's sad, really, but because it never used to be like that.
Yeah.
I think it's the last sort of 3 or 4 years where they've really clamped down on that, and like you've got no option now but to boost a post. I think you can be. There are ways to make, like, if you post semi-regularly and pictures with no links get seen by more people. If you include more links and places to external, then less people see it.
Right.
That's what I've been told. But if it's just a picture that doesn't go anywhere, then they'll open it up to more people. So it's a combination do a mixture of both.
But then
I read an article. There's so much to it.
It's going to have to be a picture with like limited text on it, I guess.
Yeah,
and things.
that's it. Yeah.
But they don't like Spotify, do they?
No.
We keep putting and Wagons do, and I know if
Spotify, you do the playlist thing. It's really good.
RPM does one, and it just doesn't get seen by many people.
But you have to, if you pay for it though, it must do.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't pay for it. I don't know why. I think
Bastards.
it's because it's Spotify.
Because
And
Facebook are bastards.
yeah, well, yeah, that's probably it too.
I love Spotify. I use it all the time.
Me too.
I just wish the artists got paid a bit more.
Yeah. There's this whole, is Spotify a good thing or a bad thing? And I do come across on Facebook a lot of conversations about it. But I think overall, I think it is a good thing because I've discovered so much music on Spotify,
Me
and
too.
I have then went on to buy the albums
Yep.
and to see the bands.
And now some of them start showing where they're playing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could
Yeah,
be
that's brilliant,
show come
that.
up near you. Oh, they're playing in my town in 3 weeks' time. Boom,
Yeah.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have that otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
If whether Spotify's good or we think it's good or bad, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's just
It's there as well. It's
you might as well
there
embrace it.
yeah.
Everyone's on there now. Even the artists that resisted for so long. I can't think of
Def Leppard recently, I think.
Yeah,
Did they
they were the
put
last
their-
ones that relented and finally
Yeah.
went on. But like without CD sales, that's all you've got to rely on really, and it's not much money, but it's more for discovery really. Because if everyone's using it, then why not be on there?
Yeah.
Even if you don't, just discount it as a revenue stream. You'll get some money occasionally, but it's just the place to be. Because you can send a link, someone click on it and be listening in seconds. You never had that before.
So easy on your phone, anywhere in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Although I do hate people who listen to on their phone through their phone speakers though.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
can
like,
be annoying.
oh, don't do that. Put some headphones on, goddammit. You see people on trains doing that, don't you? This
Yeah.
kind of music in it. It's usually shit music though, to be fair.
Well,
But, so, what was your first ever gig?
see now, growing up, my family, we didn't really go, like, although my dad was into rock music,
Did you ever go and see Def Leppard?
not when I was younger.
Oh,
when
did
I
he?
was, I'm not sure. I mean, probably. I mean, he was in the army, so he's
You may have had a chance.
very, like, regimented, and he was away a lot for like 6 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
But I guess my most notable gig was taking my sister. I mean, I was old enough to drink alcohol, but she must have been about 13,
Right.
and it was Dragon Force in Sheffield.
Wow.
And she was a huge Dragon Force fan, in love with ZP, and yeah, we did the Wall of Death and everything. It was fantastic.
How old are you?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I must have been maybe 18, 19.
Right. That's a good first gig, that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that fret wankery.
And it just so, I mean, she was in love with ZP, in love with him. She was disappointed when they broke up. But years later, when I worked for Hard Rock Hell, ZP was in a new band, which I forget the name. And I got to meet him, and I said, my sister Becky is a huge fan. Would you make her a video?
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd never even get my photos taken with any of the musicians.
Yeah.
But he made my sister a video,
Oh,
and I
that's nice.
sent it to her, and she cried.
Oh,
Yeah,
what a guy.
yeah.
So, can you think any other memorable? What your first few gigs that you went to? Or have you got a favourite gig that you've ever been to?
Well, I've got to put that one in there because that was pretty special.
Yeah.
Taking my younger sister. I've seen Def Leppard a few times. Always
Yeah.
incredible.
Put on a good show.
Barry took me to see Blackberry Smoke, one of my
Oh,
favourite bands.
yeah.
I've seen Lenny Kravitz in Ibiza.
Right.
That was, again, like, what an incredible experience that was. And I've also seen Elton John.
Wow.
And again, incredible.
The master.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think I would ever buy tickets to go and see him again.
Yeah.
And, it was just, you get the opportunity to see Elton John in
That's
Ibiza,
it, yeah.
With some really cool DJs playing before him. And that was an experience I won't forget.
So did you ever do any of the big festivals back in the day? Have you ever used to go sometimes, like Reading or Leeds or V
No.
Festival or
Do you know what? I haven't, no.
Download?
I mean, I moved away from the UK when I was 19.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
So I haven't lived in the UK whilst
No.
all of the festivals were happening.
There's a lot of good
so-
festivals out in Europe now as well, isn't there? Like Sweden Rock and Wacken and
Oh,
Hellfest. and
Hellfest, yeah.
Some amazing. Have you got any connections, or did you have any connections to those back when you were working?
No, none of those. I mean, we've had a few bands that I worked with, Bonafide. They've played at Sweden Rocks a few
right,
times.
yeah.
Choir Boys have,
Yeah.
but no, that's definitely been on the hit list for some of my bands.
Yeah,
We've not
yeah,
got there
fine.
yet, but we will.
It's difficult just to have to get in there, isn't it? You need to know someone really, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So what was the biggest venue, that Hard Rock Hell? What was their like flagship event that they had, do you think?
I'd say it was Hard Rock Hell,
Yeah.
because they have Hard Rock Hell, Hammerfest, HRH, AOR.
There's loads of
I
stuff.
mean,
I can't
yeah,
keep up.
I'm sure John told me it was 16 events that they do now.
Yeah.
And the biggest ones, they're held in Wales in November. Have you been?
I haven't been. No.
Oh, no.
Never made it there. Is it the holiday park?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, no, they are great.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that the musicians mingle with all of the punters, and everybody just has a big party and watches the bands, and it was a real good family atmosphere.
Yeah. So you were telling me that just recently you ended up on a panel in Brighton, was it? So
Yes,
what was
that's
that for?
right. So one of my friends, Bruce Dickinson, who
Not the Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce, who was in Little Angels,
Yeah.
and he's had a lot of his history is in music education,
Yeah.
and he's starting up a college called Water Bear,
Right.
and he's gonna make available master's degrees
Right.
to people within the industry. And he started off this conference, and we had a college from the Isle of Wight come over and bring their students. So we got to speak to the students, and they're so eager to learn. It's brilliant. Even though you're not sure if what you're telling them is any good, it was really great. And a bunch of other managers and PR people came down, and bands. And I sat on a panel alongside some absolute legends. So Toby Jepson, Rob Stampede from Stampede Press, Marc Claydon from Pitch Shifter, and Bruce Dickinson.
Right.
And we spoke to the crowd and got asked questions and things, and just, there's no right or wrong answer. We just gave our experience and our views and opinions on things.
Yeah.
And
So did you go there with something specific that you knew you were going to be saying?
We had a few topics that our panel was going to be discussing.
Right.
And then we just got questions fired at us, and whoever wanted to answer could answer.
Was that recorded? Will it be online or anything, or do you know?
They did record it, and I think it should be online soon.
Cool.
But in April, Bruce is taking the team. I think he's hiring a big tour bus.
Right.
Because they're based down in London and Brighton.
Yeah.
They're hiring a big tour bus, and they're travelling through all of the popular UK cities, and they're going to Ireland as well, I believe.
Right. Okay.
And they're going to be putting on these conferences. I think anybody can come down. It's free of charge, and it's just it's a good day. It's great to network, and to learn a few things as well.
That sounds exactly what someone's needed to do before now, because there's nothing really like that, is there?
Yeah, exactly.
Not that's affordable
not that's free.
and accessible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to be at the Sheffield one, I think, on a panel again, so that should be cool.
You start getting used to that, eh?
Oh, yeah.
But once you've done a few, though, you just...
Yeah, I mean, once you realise that everybody is the same as you, you're just giving your opinion and your views, and there is no right and wrong.
No.
Even, people who have been in this industry for years, they will tell you the same. There is no right and wrong.
That's it. It's just the way they've done it, which
and,
is all they're telling
and
you
times change constantly with social media and things like that. So, I think what Bruce is doing is really good, and he's bringing together a lot of good people who want to help, and who want to help emerging artists, and want to offer their advice, and want to work together. And I've made some great connections through him. I've got some great working relationships now, and I got my latest band, the Rocket Dolls, as well from there. Yeah, they're Brighton based, and they're just amazing. They're so hard working.
So that'll be a byproduct of that whole thing anyway. People communicating and networking, and opportunities will come from it, just that wouldn't have been there otherwise.
Yep, that's it.
Fair play to Bruce.
Yeah,
I'll have to try and get him on here sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure he would love to. We'd love to talk about his college.
Do you know if they're going up to Scotland at all?
They're going to Glasgow.
Oh, well, they'll pass through here on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're going to Glasgow, Manchester, Sheffield, London. But it'll all be announced soon anyway, so I'll put it your way.
Sounds great. So I would describe you as someone who works like 24/7 almost.
Yeah, well, having a 16-month-old
You're up half
baby
the night anyway,
as
yeah?
well. Yeah, pretty much. So 4 days a week, Lila is with either a grandparent or the
Yeah.
childminder.
Right.
So I have 4 days a week dedicated time where I sit in my office.
Yeah. Is that the same 4 days every week? So
It's the same 4
it's like
days
a
every
pattern,
week,
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then a lot of my bands, you know, they've got day jobs. So
that's true.
if I can't organise calls with them in the day, then I'll put the little one to bed and I can be on the phone for like 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
So a lot of the bands that you work with are like younger, would you say? Or is it a bit of a mixture?
Younger age-wise,
Yeah,
or
yeah. Oh, I suppose just younger, sort of like inexperienced, like new bands, I guess. Both.
I guess they're all like emerging, kind of. I mean, like the Rocket Dolls, for example, they've been going 10 years.
Right. Okay.
But this is only their second album.
Right.
Whereas Riders Creed, they've been going less than a year. But they've all, you know, they've been in other bands and things
yeah.
before.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Some bands just come from nowhere, don't they?
Yeah.
Other bands come from nowhere, even though they've been there for 10 years, and no one really, because obviously they might have been doing something not quite right, and then they meet someone like you yourself, and it just tells them this is how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's it. And who else have I not mentioned? Fall in Red.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good friends of ours.
yeah, they're fantastic. I was with them last Sunday. Well, Dave and Rosie planning their next music video.
Ah, cool.
Which, is going good.
Yeah.
I think we've got quite big plans, but working within a budget.
Yeah, it's very important, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll see. But it's going to be epic anyway, no matter what. So.
Yeah, because we had them on a few weeks ago. Good bunch of lads.
Lovely.
They've been going a fair while as well. I'd say probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many years altogether, but they've done some really notable things in there.
They have. Yeah. Just hard work as well. Just perseverance.
Yeah.
Knowing just to keep going, because they've built up a big fan base as well, because they've toured extensively all over the UK, and that's just like. It's the thing with like younger bands is like, have they got the staying power to do that? Or are they prepared for that? Do they know how much work's involved? Do they know all the different aspects that you've got to do? It's not just about playing gigs anymore. There's a lot more to it.
Oh yeah, that's it. And you know, sometimes I forget I'm working with the band and I think they know as much as me sometimes. And you know, they say things, I'm like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, why can't we do that? And then I'm, you know, explain everything to them and they're like, oh right, okay, I get it. You know, you can't, like I said, you can't just stick a video out there. No. You need to have planning and build up, and
you need to plan what happens after it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just you put the video out and then that's all the work's done. You need to follow it up. You need to usually time videos with a new single coming out, or a tour, or at least a gig coming up, something. You can't just put it out on a Wednesday with nothing else going on. You know, that's part of it. Thinking of the bigger picture as well, isn't it? Like, it's a cycle. Like, that's why they call it a tour cycle. You have an album, then you have a video, then you have a tour, then you have time off, then you do it all again.
Yeah.
But it's hard with, like you said, with people having full-time jobs to do that, because how many people can, their work's going to let them take a week off, 2 weeks off?
No, I know.
And then say your work allow you to do that, but what about your family or your other half? Like, you take your only holiday off to go and do something with the band, not with them.
Yep.
It's like, it's a minefield. It's like...
It is. And do you know what? Like, I've started to think lately, it's better to book dates in chunky weekend blocks now.
Yep. Yeah.
Because who is going to be out in, I don't know, like Grimsby or Cardiff on a Tuesday night?
Exactly. You need to think about things
what's
like
the point? You're wasting your
Thursday,
holiday days.
Maybe. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
That's it, really. Just do 3 of them in a row.
Yeah, that's it.
That makes up your tour.
That's it.
That's
And I
probably
mean,
the
do you
best
know
way to
what? Does it even have to be in a row?
No, not necessarily.
It doesn't.
No.
As long as you stick it all on the same poster.
Yeah, all the dates are on the same. It's all part of the same tour.
Yeah.
You're playing the same
People are going to go
songs.
out and see you. Nobody cares if the dates are in a row or not.
No, they don't even. They
But
won't even notice that. They look
yeah.
for where they are. Where's
exactly.
my gig? There
That's it. Where and what date? That's it.
That's all they look at. Yeah. Well, it just takes a bit more planning, but I think that's where someone like you would come in to say, you know, this is what you need to be looking for, because people just otherwise they'll just be oblivious and they just carry on doing it their own way. It takes someone with a bit of experience to say, no, don't do that.
How can we? Yeah, how can we do this?
Because we were also talking to Matt Adamson last week about doing gigs for nothing. Like, obviously when you first start, do any gigs you can, just get out there. But it comes to a certain point, like if you're not getting paid, if you've been going a year, 2 years, it's like, well, if you don't do that gig, it's not going to cost you anything. But if you do that non-paid gig, it's going to cost you fuel, it's going to cost you food and everything. And eventually, you wonder why you're not making any money. But you've got to be a bit more selective when you get to a certain point. I think that's where some bands fall down, because they just want to keep playing, even if it's not working financially.
Yeah, no, I know. You do have to be careful, and there's so many. I mean, gosh, the amount of charity gigs that Massive Wagons get offered to play, and it's like, we'd love to do them all.
I think we narrowed it down to like maybe 1 or 2 a year.
That's it. You have to, because it's taken up time away from families.
Exactly.
Potential holiday days. It's a cost to you as well. Yeah. So, we try and offer something else, as like, if we can't do it, what can we give them? Can we give them a t-shirt?
Give them stuff, that's what
exactly.
we usually do. Yeah.
But yeah, the whole playing for free, it's, do you know what though? I think things are changing. I don't think that you have to do it as much now as you did a few years ago.
What, paying for free?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it depends. Like if you think about it, the last tour I booked, it was like some people, you would contact them and say, oh, this is what we charge, this is our fee. Some people would say yes, some people would say no. But those people who said no then see you do the tour and go, well, they obviously all paid them.
Exactly.
I didn't, so that's on them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. And like, if you end up doing less gigs, you do less gigs.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
That's it. At least you're getting paid, and the quality ones. I mean, obviously, if Download said, come and play our festival, it's not in the budget for us to pay you because you're on a smaller stage, you're going to do it because it's beneficial for you.
But if it's some bar in like Cardiff on a Thursday night, it's like, it's a long way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been cutting the middleman out for quite a few gigs. If I know that the band are going to pull, I've said, why don't we hire the venue ourselves? Why don't we pay the £275 fee?
Yeah.
Why don't we sell the tickets? Why don't we promote it?
Yeah.
You keep all of the profit.
That
but obviously that doesn't work for everybody.
No, you have to be pretty confident that you're going to
fan base.
Fill that venue to make it worth your while.
Yeah,
these are things you learn as you go along, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like you don't know much of that. It's a bit of trial and error as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I mean, sometimes it is going to be way more beneficial for you to get a promoter involved.
Yeah.
Because that's their job, isn't it?
That's it.
So I'm not saying, cut out the promoters, because they do a great job a lot of the time. But yeah, if you're going to do a hometown show and you're going to sell those tickets, why not?
Exactly. Yeah, hometown shows can be, you can if you do it right, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. And that will fund more merchandise. That will fund studio time.
Yeah, that's another thing. Merchandise. Some bands really don't they don't focus enough on the merchandise.
Oh yeah.
Or they just sort of half-arse it, and like you can tell. It's like people look at it and go, because the product doesn't match the quality of like the songs or the band, and you can tell they haven't spent much money on it. It's like it's so annoying.
Yeah, and it's so important as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why Wagons don't have to put their hands in their own pockets anymore, because they got great merch.
Yeah, that's it. That's something we learned the hard way. You pick things up from other people as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw some, like when we first started, I remember seeing some bands and they had all this. One of the best things I ever learned was, I can't remember what band it was. It wasn't a very big band. They had all their T-shirts rolled up and with a card wrapped on with the size and the T-shirt design. We did that straight. I was like, right, I'm buying a box, put the dividers in, all the different sizes. Because sometimes you get a box, it's like there's a medium in here somewhere.
I know, it's a right nightmare.
You lose customers sometimes when it's busy. So it's just like, go.
That's it. You can get like the white tape.
Yeah.
Tape the white tape around and write on it in a Sharpie.
That's it. And it shows that you can see it in the dark as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or just simple things like bringing an extension cable and a lamp, because sometimes the venue you've got no plugs, or they've got one plug all the way over there, and there's no lights. It's just things, because otherwise it's in darkness and no one sees it.
Yeah.
Or some gigs or some festivals where I talk to bands and like, yeah, we brought some merch, but we couldn't be asked. Basically, can't be asked to get it out. Whereas I remember the first time we played Wildfire Festival, they only had like a setup where just before you were going to play, you had they had like a merch table in the inside the tent.
room. Yeah.
So then, while you were playing and just after, you could have your merch and sell it, and then you had to take it off. And the next man came in, so we thought, right, there was more people that we could have reached there. So we drove around by the outside stage of the van, opened the side of the van, and just turned it into a mobile shop.
Brilliant.
And we made like £200. Yeah. It's just like
yeah. Exactly,
like
and if you're getting paid low fees as well from whatever event or festival, that really does help.
I think you've got to put some money in to get the quality products, but over a long time, if you're doing some gigs, it could make a free gig worthwhile.
Yeah.
If you thought, we're not going to get paid, but we could sell, we've just brought some new t-shirts, so we're probably going to make some money on that one, things like that.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Massive Wagons, just to go back to them, a particular gig that they've never really been paid for. I think the last time they played, they made about £800 in merch.
There you go. Boom.
That's for fee right there. So
Exactly. So when you get to that sort of level and that thing comes into it, then it maybe frees up other gigs that you maybe wouldn't have done before if you weren't going to make any money, but you can back it up with your merch sales.
Yeah. If you know you're going to have a lot of good merch and you're going to sell, then...
I'll tell you what else made a difference. When you get to the point where you've got 3 CDs or 3 albums, that, for us, we packaged them as a 3 and put it, made it a good deal. Sometimes people who've never seen you before, so right, I'll have all them, just bang, and it's just like, it was great. But it's just thinking of things like that. But if there's no one like you to tell someone like that, you've got to be paying attention, or you just drift along and you don't pick these things up.
Yeah. I think as well, it's, helping the band establish a solid fan base in their hometown. I think that's really important.
That's where you've got to start, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
that's the beginning.
Definitely. I mean, if you're not pulling at least 100 tickets in your hometown, then
there's no point looking anywhere else.
Yeah, and you're probably not ready for management either.
Yeah,
you need to. That's where you need to start, your hometown.
Yeah, maybe your songs aren't good enough, or maybe your live performance isn't quite there, or a bit of both. So you've just got to go back to the drawing board. But some people are too proud to admit that. I think.
I know.
They can't take the criticism quite as much as they should. But like the first time I've told the story before. The first time we ever played outside of our area was with Massive Wagons.
Oh, really?
Preston. The Dog and Partridge in Preston.
I think you might be right.
Dog and 2012. Yeah, maybe the Dog and Parrot. 2012, like in the summer. It's just us and them. I didn't know anything about them. So we went on first. We were playing, and we'd only been going about 6 months at the time. And then they went on. And we were just like, wow, we've got a lot of work to do. But I think a lot of other bands would be like, they just think that they already need to know. They know everything they need to know. They don't need to. They wouldn't even watch that band that was on after them. Whereas I was always interested to see like, well, that works.
Exactly. And do you know what? It's like Hoss said to me the other day. There's always room for improvement, because he said, "How did I enjoy the gig? Was there anything that I thought should have been done better?" And I did say, to be honest, I was too busy enjoying myself. Because they are great. And and like Hoss said, there's always room for improvement, and he's right.
Yeah.
He is.
Sometimes we used to record it, film it, or record it to listen back, just because you may have been enjoying it at the time, and you may have been in the zone, and something else might have happened, and you didn't even notice.
Yeah.
You're like, no, we fucked that up there. I didn't even realise.
Yeah, I'd say the main problem. It's not really too much of a problem. Is silence between songs.
Yeah.
Or changing guitars.
Because if it's a kind of quiet evening, it can be a bit awkward.
Yeah,
so like a bit of stage banter, or some things like someone has a bit of a jam while you're doing stuff like that, just to make it a bit more smooth, so it's not like, oh, this is a bit awkward.
Yeah, just sort of.
Because sometimes if you're in the crowd, you feel awkward for the band, don't you?
Yeah, you do, totally. Yeah.
So you get a few extra whoops or claps.
Yeah.
But that's just part and parcel of it, isn't it? Massive Wagons don't have any issues with that, I've noticed.
Yeah, they're all right with that. I think, it was one thing that Barry did say he wanted to improve on, but
he's kind of had to become a stand-up comedian as well as a frontman.
Oh yeah, I mean, luckily that's him anyway. So yeah,
that's kind of natural.
So many bad jokes. Sorry, Barry. But
so how's the new guy fitted in for them? Do you know?
Stephen, yeah, I mean, he's a lot younger than them.
I thought so, yeah.
But he is so talented, like crazily talented. And I think he's just sort of taking it all in his stride. He's really happy to be there, and he's just, taking a bit of a back seat at the moment, just enjoying it and getting used to everybody's characters and things. But I think, he's fitted in really well.
Yeah, because the thing with Carl and that's part of the band of everyone's lives being completely dedicated to the band. Sometimes a job might get in the way of you doing a gig, sometimes it might not, and it's whether the longer you go, like you said earlier before we recorded about you feeling like you need to feel like you're moving forward and you're making progress. Sometimes if someone's not necessarily holding you back, but that's just their circumstances, then you need to make a choice to say either we stop or do we replace this person, and that's something that most bands happens in the first couple of years. But for Massive Wagons to be going that long and then to have to make a change like that, it was pretty it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it wasn't something that that was taken lightly by anybody,
No,
really.
not at all.
And it's just one of those things.
That's life.
Progression of the band.
Yeah.
And I suppose it was done at a time where if it wasn't done then and it had to be done
Yeah.
in a year, it would have maybe
been worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
But that, like you
Yeah.
say, that is part of that's life. Part of being in a band is like sometimes personal life can like the family's always more important, isn't it? So if that comes down to it, then you just got to make a decision. It's tough, but
Yeah.
eventually you end up with the right lineup.
Yeah, and yeah, fingers crossed this is it. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, do you, in a band's life? But
Yeah.
this album is sounding amazing.
You were
I've
just saying
heard
they've just
4
finished.
songs,
You've heard it.
4 songs so
Oh, I can't
far.
wait to hear it.
It's so nerve wracking. Like, is it going to be better than the last? That's the problem. That
Well, yeah, when you get to a certain level, I suppose there's that pressure, but a lot of bands, like I imagine they do, put the pressure on themselves.
definitely.
Got to go in and then say we can't repeat ourselves. We've got to move forward. It's got to be a bit different. So plus working with Matt Ellis.
Oh yeah, I mean
What a
he's
guy.
so good. Yeah, have you worked with him
every
before?
time.
Yeah,
Every time.
he's
I
great,
think
isn't he?
3 times we did there. Yeah.
I
It's
mean, yeah,
just-
for the quality of the Last Wagons album and 13 Stars as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's worked with some great bands,
Mm,
Black
yes.
Spiders.
This was the thing we were saying before about like your money and your expense. Yeah, it is expensive, but it's worth it because there's nothing worse than you see a band and then you go look at you listen to the music and the recordings are awful.
I
Like, it
know.
can ruin really good songs. It's like it's worth spending that money. Or like you get the packaging. They've spent all the money on the packaging, but you listen to the song. It's this is terrible.
Yeah,
I hate that.
I don't understand why, you would put your heart and soul into it all and spend so much time writing these songs to have it recorded somewhere and the quality just sound horrendous.
Yeah, it's like it's usually the drums as well, because you can get decent guitar sounds through digital like Pro Tools and all that, but you can't do that with drums. It has to
Yeah.
be, you have to go somewhere professional. So I would recommend, even if you just got the drums done somewhere properly, just at least do that,
Yeah,
because that's the one thing that can really you can tell it's a drum machine on there. It's like, oh god.
yeah, that's it.
Pretty bad for the drummer as well. It's like if you've got all these songs out and he's not even on them.
Yeah.
As we were talking to Mike Harshaw, who used to be the drummer in Annihilator, we had him
Oh.
on when we used to do Skype. We used to buy a Skype, and he was saying that I think he was on 2 Annihilator album CDs. I mean, he's not on the drums on any of them.
Oh, really?
He would do like drum takes, and then Jeff Waters would like put those takes into the drum machine and like imitate them. I mean, they sound good, but
No,
I don't know how long
yeah,
any drummer worth his salt would put up with that.
No.
It's like he's just so much of a control freak. He just wouldn't, and he didn't want to spend the money. It comes down to he didn't want to spend the money to track it properly, which is like crazy.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you go in the studio and you do it properly. It's
a band. You should
Yeah.
all be doing
yeah,
your part.
exactly.
It's
And-
like
and
it's
that's
the excitement of it,
that's
isn't it?
part of the whole experience as well, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's surely what you want to be doing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad that like I've had that experience of being in a proper studio with that recording with the red light on, with the producer saying go, and then he's saying no, do that again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Like rather than just the whole digital Pro Tools thing, which is what most people have to do, but it comes down to money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
It's an
if you save up
expensive
some
thing.
money, that should be one of your priorities, I think, because at the end of the day, that's what you get judged by. Or that's what, if you stop doing it, that's what you've got left. So what have you got left? What have you got left? Some shitty recordings. It's like, it's not much, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Massive Wagons, I mean, where did they do Fight the System there as well?
Fight the system.
I think that might have been the first one when they went there.
I think
it?
it was.
'Cause
Yeah.
I remember we did Elected Evil just after they'd done Fight the System, I think. And I'm sure Barry told me that the first time they went to Matt, they were so poor that they just camped in a field.
That's exactly right. Yeah, they camped.
Oh my god! And it recorded it in like October or something. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh my
freezing
god,
cold.
what a guy.
I know. That's the kind of thing like you have to do, isn't it? Starting out.
Well, that's a sacrifice they made to make
Yeah.
sure those recordings came out as best they could.
Yeah.
And look where they are now.
Exactly.
They're an example to anyone.
Gosh, I mean, like, I'm sure many bands will be able to tell you the stories that they've had. Falling Red were just telling me on the weekend that they had this van with beds in that they used to sleep
Yeah.
in. and they said that they finished a gig and they've been so tired that they've just drove and parked somewhere, and they've woke up the next morning and it's like quite a sort of well-to-do neighborhood, and they're like barbecuing sausages and things in their underpants, like with the neighbors walking out. So yeah, sacrifices need to be made, and do you know what? It gives the band that extra edge.
I think so. It shows the hunger as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because then when you get to that point when you're on tour promoting that album of those songs that you took that sacrifice to make, it's like that's why we did it.
And life experience and experience for the writing and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think Baz will ever run out of things to write about.
Probably not. No. Yeah.
But he's developed into quite a character, I suppose, on stage.
Yeah, he is a character. He really is. His personality is just, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
And what you see on stage is what he's like in real life, but just dulled down.
On stage, he's dulled down.
No. So yeah, that would be terrifying. In real life, it's just dulled down a little bit. Yeah.
Well, how did you meet him?
So I met him in 2013.
Right.
At a gig called Highway to Hell.
Oh yeah.
Which is part of the Hard Rock Hell bracket.
We did it in 2014 in Glasgow, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I met him 2013. My boss wanted to speak. He did his performance on stage, and I can remember listening.
Were you a fan of the band beforehand?
I knew who they were a bit, but not really.
Right.
No, I can't say I was. But I remember listening to Fight the System and Red Dress and nodding my head, and I'm like, yeah, these guys are cool. Didn't really pay much attention to anything else, and my boss John wanted to speak to Barry about something, so he asked me, he's like, can you go and bring him to me? I was like, yeah, no worries. And so I went over to Barry, who was with his manager, and Barry was just sort of joking around and playing the fool, and I think I invited him to the bar to come and get a few drinks, and that's the start of it all, really. Wouldn't tell you what happened after that.
So
No.
How long has it been now? 4 years? Yeah.
So it was October 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went back to Ibiza. He went back to Lancaster.
Yeah.
And that's when we grew our long distance relationship.
Right. Because obviously they used to go out to Ibiza as well sometimes, didn't they, to play?
Yep. They came over to play, and Barry came over to visit me.
Right.
But yeah, luckily I was coming over with Hard Rock Hell quite a lot at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And, coming back to the UK for Christmas and things. So I would come to Lancaster and see him, and yeah, our relationship grew from there. I think we were in a long distance relationship for maybe a year and a half.
Which is tough.
A long time. Yeah.
I don't.
No.
I don't recommend that to anyone.
No. But we got to know each other so well.
Yeah.
Hours on the phone, and
Was that part of your decision to come back then?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably most of my decision to come back.
All right,
really.
yeah.
Barry
Barry's fault.
likes his home comforts too much. He would never leave Lancaster.
You've also just moved house as well, haven't you?
Just moved house. Yeah, got a
Quite an
mortgage together. Yep. So no, it's all happening really.
Yeah. But you've managed to keep the business going and focused and with all the upheaval.
Yep.
So you've started a new company, you've got a child, you've got a new house.
And I'm learning to drive.
Wow, there's an essential skill.
Yes, I've just got a little automatic car though. I'm not learning how to really drive, but yeah.
I suppose with your job out there, you just didn't need to, did you?
Didn't need to. I had a push bike.
Yeah.
Used to cycle everywhere.
But you had a good tan then as well.
Much better tan than now. I'm so pale. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you got any other bands that are on your radar at the moment, or?
I mean, there's so many good ones out there. I got to see the King Lot perform, and they're managed by my friend Lauren. And gosh, they're so good.
Yeah, they are.
They are so good. And in the album, I've listened to a few songs. I haven't listened to the whole album yet, but those
very
guys
consistent.
I think are going to do far. They're going to go far.
Yeah, definitely.
I think. Yeah.
We've done a few gigs with them before. They're very good.
They're so nice as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lauren's doing a great job with them. So hopefully we'll see better things from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of me taking any bands on, I'm not looking.
Yeah.
I guess
You're listening, but you're not looking.
I've said that for the last few bands that I've taken on. I'm not taking any more on, but then I'm like,
Someone else can.
they're too good to not take on, you know.
Yeah.
But really, my interest is in emerging acts.
Yeah.
A few more established acts have got in touch with me, but I kind of feel like there's not a lot I could do for them. They're already at a level.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what could I do other than keep on, you know, doing the admin and keeping on booking the same gigs and things, because they've been going a long time and they've already got an established fan base. I want to be there from the start. And
that's the exciting bit, isn't it? To
it really is.
Grassroots up and build them up.
Yeah.
Not coming halfway through when they've all done a lot of work themselves.
Exactly.
But it would be good to do that as well, to help them make that final push.
Well,
or if you got a band that ended up going on a major label because of what you did, that would be quite cool.
Yeah.
I suppose it would be a bit sweeter if you did it right from the beginning of that, though, I guess.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. But yeah, I mean, the earache thing for Wagons was...
Yeah, how did that come about? Massive, just for people who don't know, Massive Wagons are recently signed to Earache Records. So their next album, obviously, will be the first one to come out on Earache.
Yeah, that's right. I think Digby was a fan of Wagons. He'd seen them at Bloodstock a few years ago.
Right.
I think 2014, I think. Followed their progress. Then we released Back to the Stack.
Yeah, that was good.
Which got a lot of radio play.
Yeah, it did.
There's a great little station, well, a great little show on a station called Great Music Stories, which is on Meridian FM, which Guy Bellamy, he runs Great Music Stories. He loves Wagons. He played them constantly. We got playlisted on Planet Rock, and Digby just kept hearing it, and he was like, I need to get in touch.
Wow.
So he got in touch with the guys on Instagram. Then I messaged Digby, and it all went from there, really.
Cool. So Earache, where are they based in America, are they?
No, they're based in Nottingham.
Nottingham, right.
Mm-hmm. And they do have an office in America and an office in London.
Yeah. So who's their biggest artist on their roster, would you say?
Well, they were really a metal label until quite recently. And now I suppose it's Blackberry Smoke and the Rival Sons, Temperance Movement, and White Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good company to be in.
Yeah, and do you know what? They've been nothing but helpful, and I'm really excited to see. You know, their marketing machine must be huge.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what that next release from Massive Wagons will be like. The next.
Yeah.
Because did they last year do a tour of like academies? Did some academy shows, didn't they?
Last year we did something with a co-headline with Colour of Noise.
Yeah.
They did like an English, Irish, Scottish, and Welsh date, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then before that, we did the Off Yer Rocka tour with Screaming Eagles and Trucker Diablo.
Yeah.
And
So what sort of
13
venues
Stars.
were they?
That was Academy ones.
Yeah, and that went really well, didn't it? Yeah.
Really well. It was like a co-headline tour with all of the, I think 3 or 4 of the Off Yer Rocka bands at the time.
So that was I can see Massive Wagons. That's their next thing, to like a headlining tour of the academies. That's their.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this tour that we've put on in March and April, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've hired quite a lot of the venues.
Okay.
Ourselves, and we're
what
selling.
What sort of size venues?
200 to 300 cap.
Yeah. Because that's where like you just got to go gradually, haven't you?
Yeah.
You sell out smaller ones and go to slightly bigger ones and just keep going.
I mean, look at Stonebroken now. They're selling out 600 cap venues.
Yeah,
That's an incredible position to be in.
They have not been going that long, have they?
No, not long at all. I think, it helped a lot. They got picked up by Planet Rock. And, I think that really helped boost their careers.
It's just incredible. It just shows you that there is stuff going on out there if people are paying attention. Because people say, oh, the music scene's dead.
So not.
That's usually said by people who aren't going to gigs and aren't involved.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that it's probably at its strongest right now, really, in the last few years. Yeah. And I can just see it getting stronger. Yeah,
definitely. Like you're probably a bit of an inspiration for other women, I think, like how hard you've worked, and you didn't go to university, did you?
I didn't go to university.
You just went straight, got stuck in.
Yeah.
Because like even when you had a kid, you could have decided to just get a job, a more stable kind of.
I thought about that for so long. I was thinking, what can I do? What do I want to do? And I thought, should I go and work for the NHS and I'll get a pension? And But really, it's not what I wanted to do.
Exactly. I think a lot of people get stuck in that kind of pattern of, or like they feel that they should just take the safe option. There's no point doing anything that's fun. But why get a job when you could get the job?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's worth, while you're still young and you've got the opportunity, you should just go for it. Because I think most people would want to have their job be something that they actually enjoy doing. Because I think for a lot of people, it's not. It's just a job, which helps you kind of do your hobby. But what if your hobby became your job?
Exactly.
Well, if you don't take that chance, you'll never know, will you? And you'll always think. And I think that's the kind of people who would like then put other people down for doing it.
Yeah.
The naysayers are the ones who didn't bother to off their arse to do it themselves.
I know, you have to go for it. And you know what? Up until a couple of months ago, I was doing this and I was working 3 evenings in a bar as well.
Oh God.
Yeah. Now that was hell.
I bet it was, especially with a young kid.
Yeah. But it got to a point where I think I took on 2 more bands, and then I was like, right, okay, I can stop the bar job now.
Yeah.
And to be doing what I love full time, it's
I think you put more effort into it.
Oh yeah.
You've got the passion for it. You're just more determined to make it work.
Yeah.
And just
definitely.
follow your passions.
And when I was working at the bar, to be fair, I did have my phone with me constantly answering emails.
Well, yeah, you're multitasking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you, as a woman in the industry, have you found much, like, I don't know if it's tougher for women or they get less opportunity? Because there's a lot of that in the media at the moment.
I've got quite a few female friends who work in PR or management, and we've had conversations about this. And, you know, we've even discussed having an email address with a man's name on it because particular people might not like answering to women and things like that, which I think is ridiculous. And luckily, I don't see a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it does happen. It is out there. I know. Yeah.
It's ridiculous that it's even a conversation, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the whole thing about not being able to call women bossy or something, if there wasn't women telling,
What?
if there wasn't in certain situations, if it wasn't for the women telling people what to do, nothing would get done. I think women are more organised than men,
women
paying more attention to detail,
Yeah.
which in our industry is what you need.
Yeah, definitely. And I love doing that. I thrive on organising and bringing things together.
I just think
that's
people are
what
so
I like.
oversensitive these days about things like that. Like what do you think about the whole removing like the card girls from the Formula One and all that bollocks? Does that? You think that's a good thing, or are you not bothered?
I mean,
I can see both sides of it because
yeah.
some people say like, well, what if those women, that was their job, they like doing it, they wanted to do it. Now you've just taken that away from them.
yeah, exactly.
But other people say, oh, it's exploiting women. But is it if the women want to be there and
if
doing
the
it?
women want to do it, because
If all them women were like being forced to do it, then yeah, fair enough.
but yeah, I'm sure they all want to do it and they enjoy doing it
Yeah.
and they enjoy the glamorousness and
get to travel and
yeah, exactly. It's opportunity, isn't
so a lot
it?
of those like younger women could be using that as a start to do something else because it might be good money for all we know. And then
Oh,
they could,
yeah, I'm
might,
sure
some
it
of them
will
might go,
be.
like end up being lawyers or teachers. Everyone's just judging them
Yeah.
because of what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they might think, oh, they're just bimbos with these pointless jobs. But how do you know that?
No, they're probably doing it as a filler.
Yeah. Some of them might go on to be the heads of like some major companies down the line, and that would just
Exactly.
show you exactly what these people know.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right.
But I just keep doing what you're doing is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I think there's some fantastic women in this industry. There doesn't seem to be many.
No.
Do you think it? You know, it's,
Well, this
there's
is
a lot of
the other
men,
thing when
isn't
they're saying about there should be more opportunities for women, but because I'm not there, I don't know. But are there just less women pushing for those jobs? Like is these typical bigger jobs? Is there just more men going for it than women? That's why there's more men in the jobs.
Actually, going back to this, the students from the Isle of Wight that came over, they were
Yeah.
all doing the music course, and there was 2 women, 2 females, and the rest were men.
Right.
And I think there must have been about 20 people. But yeah,
I think it depends on the industry because like, are there as many women wanting to be plumbers as men?
yeah.
I don't know. Well, in the music industry, I don't know. Are there less women going for the same jobs as men? Is that why it's male dominated, or is it harder for women to get in? I don't actually
I'm
know.
not sure. Yeah. I mean, well, when I worked for Hard Rock Hell, there was
Seemed to be a lot of women working there, was there? Like, was it Fleur was there as well?
more women than men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was so
And you
bloody
know,
organised.
Flo is a director of the company, so
Yeah, it's good to see. But yeah, it's a bit of it's debatable, isn't it?
yeah,
No one can say for
definitely.
certain. But some people seem so sure that like
yeah.
it's a certain way. It's like,
And I
is
think
it?
you know you should, if that's what you want to do, go for it. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
You know.
At the end of the day, you've got to have the drive.
Yeah.
You've got to be good at what you do, and you've got to have the drive, whether you're a man or a woman.
Exactly, and whether you're a man or a woman, if you're good at what you do and you have a passion for it, then you'll come out on top. So
Yeah, you've got to be fairly, not ruthless, but you've got to know what you want and be prepared to, like, you've got to be prepared to put like 70 hours a week in at some point in your career to get to that next level. Whereas some people won't be prepared to do that, so
Yeah.
they won't get through.
yeah,
And I don't think that both men and women are capable of doing that.
yeah,
But it's such because it's a hot topic at the moment, isn't it? Like there's
It
like the gender
really
pay gap
is.
and all that, and it's just like, I don't know enough about it. But some people, I feel, have got an opinion on it, but they don't really know either because they're
Yeah.
not involved in it. But they've got
Yeah.
these huge opinions on it, and just because they're a media celebrity, everyone's listening to them, but they haven't got a fucking clue.
no. I tend to just. I'm not a big fan of the news, to be honest.
No.
It's quite depressing, and
It's full of a lot of bullshit.
yeah, it
Which
really
you
is.
can tell.
It really is, yeah. So I tend not to watch it. I don't read newspapers. I get the general gist of what's going on from Facebook, to be honest. And then if something sparks my interest, I might look at some articles and things. But to keep me in my happy little bubble, I concentrate on me and my life and my
Exactly.
work, and that's it.
And I think
Pay my
that's-
taxes and just
Exactly.
get on.
And I think that's what other people will pay attention to. Someone who just is good at their job, who works hard. That's how you gain respect as well, and that's how you get known in your industry. Whether you're a man or a woman, it's the same principle.
Yeah.
But oh well, thanks for joining. It's been.
Excellent.
Have you
Thank
got any social media links you want to share for people to check out?
Yes, it's Rock People Management, and I'm sure you can put them in the footer. Can
we
you?
will. We will. Yeah. Oh, another thing I
Okay.
was going to ask you is like, is anyone who you want to give an honourable mention to who's helped you along the way? Because I think that's what sometimes it can just take one person to open a door for someone, and you have to look back and go, I'm glad I knew that person, or I'm glad I met that person.
Well, Barry, obviously, he's one because he's always pushed me to do what I want to do, and he's supported me, and
Yeah.
he's done everything in his power to make sure that I am following my dreams as well, because that he's following his dreams, so he wants me to do the same.
Yeah.
And that one person who's been a bit of a mentor to me would be Bruce Dickinson.
Ah, right. Yeah.
It was him that really pushed me, and he was like, do this. And it was him that made me realise that, yeah, I can do it, and I
Yeah.
do have...
That self-confidence, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So, yeah, Bruce, and I have to say Guy Bellamy as well, from Great Music Stories.
Yeah.
He, if I'm ever having a bad day, I can just drop him a message.
Yeah.
And he'll ring me up and say, everything's great, and, really give me a boost. Claire Lloyd from Central Press.
Okay.
She's an amazing person. She's a female that's been slogging in this industry for a long, long time, and now she's getting recognised, which is amazing. And me and her are such good friends, and yeah. So I'd say those people, but mostly Barry and my little girl.
Good old Barry.
Yeah.
To be fair, I have a lot to owe to Barry in that band as well, because they kind of spurred us on to be better and better at
Good.
what we do and go back and practice a bit more. I think that's another thing that some bands don't do enough of is practice.
Yeah.
I think, especially if you're doing a lot of gigs, you get to the point where you stop practicing as much. But I don't know about other bands, but for us, it's like practice is where you can experiment a bit and try something. And like you're saying about Barras was saying about silences in the middle of songs, but like sometimes you can connect two songs together. But
Yeah.
if you don't rehearse that, then you never come up with that,
Then
and
you
your live
never
show
do it,
will get
yeah.
a bit stagnant. As
And you know
well.
what? Even rehearsing what you're going to say in those gaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a good thing to take away. Yeah, rehearse it. Whatever city you're in.
Yeah.
You can say more or less.
Yeah,
the same,
don't say the
same
wrong city.
spiel. Yeah, just don't say the wrong city, which I'm sure has happened before.
Oh, of course. Yeah. There's that famous one, is it in Spinal Tap? He says, "Thank you, Cleveland," and they're in somewhere completely different. I love that film. Well, yeah, thanks for coming down anyway. I've really enjoyed speaking
Thank
to you.
you so
We'll have
much.
to get Barry on next time.
Oh, definitely. I said to him, you know, we should go on as a couple and do it.
I could have done
but
that. Yeah,
I
that would
know,
have been.
I know. Yeah, I tried to persuade him to come, but he's a bit too tired from the studio.
Well,
so-
that's fair enough. Yeah, we'll get him on.
But yeah, he'll come on for sure.
We'll get him on. Is he? When does their gigs start kicking in for the album?
I think it's March. There's so much going on with the bands. Yeah, it's March or April.
Right, we'll have to try and get him in fairly soon then.
Yeah,
Before all that, 'cause
definitely.
it just gets it's just going to be crazy
Yeah,
after that.
we're nearly sold out on a few of the shows as well.
Impressive.
Yeah, London I think is going to be the first to sell out, which
Wow.
is not the hometown.
No.
So I thought Manchester would, but
Yeah, that's incredible.
but
That
yeah, like it surprised me.
it just shows you the power of that band. They're just that good.
Fingers crossed.
They've got the
they'll-
songs and they've got the live performance, and they're all nice guys. I
Yeah.
think that's what the full package. I think, which is what you need.
Well, watch your space. Let's hope so.
Yeah. All right, Terri Chapman. Thanks for joining
Cool.
us.
Thank you so much.
See ya. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.